Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in as always. I appreciate it. We're getting back to the Fordson Major Diesel here. This is episode number 2 in this series. If you watched the first video, you might notice that I got some of the oxidation off of it. It's still obviously very rough, but I got a lot of the blue paint to come out that was hidden before. Just use a little bit of product, pressure wash, SOS pads, a little bit of oil. Anyway, in the last video, we got stymied right at the end there by this brake clutch pedal cross shaft seal right there. You can't see the seal because it's behind the pedals there. Like I said before, the play in the pedals here is not the issue. That's fine. But there's a seal in there that's leaking badly. So we can't put any oil in tractor because it just leaks right back out again. So before we do anything else, we have to address this seal and get that fixed. So what I need to do now is get the pedals off and remove the seals on both sides so I can actually definitively know what sizes those seals are, so I know what to order. You know, removing the pedals from the shaft is relatively simple, but you know, everything's dirty, kind of semi-frozen. So this is not going to be a very fun job just because of that. If everything was clean and loose, this would be a pretty quick job. I also have to take the running board off the left side so we can get to the clutch pedal. I'll start on the left side. It doesn't really matter where I start, but we'll get the running board off first and go from there. All right, no problem there. Now I don't really care if any of these break. I think they all did on the other side. In fact, there were only 2 present on the other side and both of them broke. Well, I got those 3 out and none of those broke. It's kind of surprising. Now we've got 1, 2, 3 bolts on the top of the plate here, and they're nuts below. They feel like 1/2 inch, so I'm going to try to spin them off with the tool. That one's going to be a little more stubborn. Well, I got the 3rd one out over there, but the middle one is trying to spin on me. So I ground a little slot in the top for a screwdriver. See if we can hold it in place that way. I need to make it a little bit deeper. Wow, that thing is stuck on there. All right, I cut the slot even deeper, so let's see if we can get it. The top of the fastener just split, which is fine, I guess. I'll see if I can just cut the rest of it away and drop the rest out the bottom. Okay, the running board should come off now. All right, here's what we got. This is the clutch pedal here, and this is the brake for the left side. So we just need to remove that clevis. Looks like there's a bolt down here that keeps this clevis piece onto the shaft. So remove that bolt. So I cleaned off some of the dirt and grime, and I found a retaining clip under there, which I guess makes sense. Retaining clip keeps it on the shaft, and that bolt just keeps this clamped and tight on the shaft. So yeah, I'll just knock that off, hopefully with a little punch or something. It shouldn't be too hard. All right, I got the clip off and I didn't break it, so that's a bonus. There's even a woodruff key in there. Anyway, so remember the orientation. It was up like this with the bolt over here facing down in the back. Well, I've been working on this Woodruff key for about 15 minutes. And I've just about got it. I thought you might want to see the satisfying part. Ah, there it goes. I put a couple dings into it, but I can clean up the edges and we're gonna definitely reuse it, so that's good. All right, I got the pin out of the bottom of the clutch pedal, and let's pull this baby right off. And I can see, I think I can see the seal right there. Or is that just a washer? We'll find out here in a minute. Yeah, it's just a washer. All right, I got to spend a little bit of time cleaning this up, but you don't need to see me do that. So I'll get that done, and then we'll go do the other side and see if we can get the seals out. Now, in theory, this side should go faster than the other side, right? Like I said in the beginning of the video, this would be a pretty easy job if everything was clean and loose. So every little step, every little fastener or pin just puts up a fight. Well, I can just not get this pin out no matter what I do. It is stuck, it's frozen. So what I'm going to try to do is get this what you call it, you know, it's like a clamp for the end of the shaft, and it's got a pin in it of its own. So I'm going to drive this pin out, see if we can pull this collar off, that's what it's called, and then just pull the whole pedal off, and maybe I'll be able to get better leverage on that pin. But first we have to get this pin out, and I think I have the right tools for it here. Done. This collar is going to be all frozen on here too, isn't it? All right, I've got a little puller attached because that collar just is not coming off. I can see it starting to move now. So it's the case of having the right tool. Got it off of one piece. It is not damaged, so we can reuse this. You can buy these, by the way, at McMaster-Carr and places like that. So these are not special parts, but we can reuse this one. Now, well, I didn't figure you wanted to listen to me complain and moan for another hour, so I turned the camera off there for a while. And this job has been just as difficult as I thought it might be. Anyway, this is the brake side, and this is the clutch side. So this shaft goes through the belly of the tractor all the way through. This job is actually easier if you take the wheels off, but we're not going to do that. I guess I'll start on the other side, but we're just going to push this into the belly, get the seal out from that side, and then push it the other way and get the seal out from this side. Now, everything up to this point has been extremely difficult, so maybe we can get lucky here and have this seal come out easily for us. Just help us out here. Just come out easily for me here. All right, the seals are the same size and the same thickness. All right, so now we got that cross shaft ready to accept the new seals, but I've been looking back here around the PTO shaft, and this has clearly been leaking as well. It's going to add a little bit more work, but it's something that clearly needs to get done, and this is the perfect time to do it. So I'm just going to clean everything up a little bit, and then we'll see if we can get it off. I didn't think there was any oil in here. There must be just a little bit of oil left down in here, because I don't think there is any left in the belly. I've got a pan underneath it now, so we're just going to let the oil come out and drain into the pan. Well, it looks like the bolts at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock were all long, and then the ones in between were all short. So we'll remember and put them back in the same way. There we go, I think. There we go. Looks like the seal is down in there. Anyway, this should be relatively straightforward, because it doesn't look like we have to take this shaft out. So I saved you guys having to watch me spend 40 minutes getting this bearing out. Anyway, I got them all out successfully, didn't damage anything. Fast forward about a week, and I finally have the replacement PTO seal. It took me a while to find the right one online, but I finally found it. Its size is 2.5 inches outer diameter, 1.5 inches inner diameter, and it's about 13/16 thick. And that seems to be the right one for my PTO. Now, if you look at the housing here, this first inset area with this lip here, that's where the bearing goes. And the bearing is on the shaft on the tractor. And our seal goes down in this next one, down here. So we're simply going to drive it in and go get it installed. All right, I got the seal driven in there, and you can tell if you turn it over and look on the bottom, you can tell that it's flush with the housing there. And I'm just going to put some grease on the inner part of the seal. This is where the seal actually rides on the PTO shaft, so a little grease here won't hurt anything, keep things lubricated, and even provide a little bit better seal. Here we are at the PTO shaft. I just wanted to show you how the PTO handle works over here. It's disengaged right now so the thing can free spin. But when you engage the handle like that, that's when the PTO is engaged. All the gears are locked in place. We've got grease on the seal, ready for installation. Feels like it has a nice fit. And like I said earlier in the video, I don't know if this is just on this tractor or if they're all this way, but the 4 longer bolts were at the 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock positions, and the shorter bolts were at the ones in between. I now have the cross shaft seals in my hand. I've already got the cross shaft polished up, and I got, you know, all the dirt and grime off it, and I've also got the housing cleaned out where these seals actually fit into. So all we have to do now is drive these seals into the housings and then reassemble everything. Well, I was having trouble getting the seal driven in there. by itself, so we're trying a different tactic here. I put it over the shaft first, and then we're going to get it lined up, and then you know, go get a socket or something and drive it the rest of the way in. I think that's going to be the successful way to do it. Now I'll push this in and use the flat one. That looks pretty good. Let me go around to the other side now and push it through and make sure everything stays in place. There, I got it. Boy, those seals are a tight fit, let me tell you. So that should be good. Let's go do the other side. All right, I got it driven in there. Put a little bit more grease on the inside of the lip. Then we'll pop the shaft through from the other side, and we can start putting stuff back together. That inner lip was trying to flip out on me. But anyway, I'm happy with how they ultimately went in, and I'm happy with the seal that they're making around the shaft. All right, we're going to start on the left side of the tractor first. I hope you guys remember how this stuff went on. We got the washer first. Give this stuff a lot of grease in here where the clutch pedal goes. There's actually a zerk on the bottom of the pedal that we can fill up afterwards also. There we go, like that. And we got to pull this out a bit. I guess it was just the Woodruff key and then the brake arm, like that. Yeah, we're getting it. All right, finally got that clip on. Now we can start assembling this. Let's put it the other way so we can tap it in a little bit easier. Like that. New cotter key. And then we'll tighten the nut on the end of the brake clamp. Okay, and then we just got to hook up the clutch clevis, which is on the bottom there. It's this pin here. I'll do this on the bottom, then I'll bring you right back. Now the spring, I guess, went on like that and then hooked to the floorboard just like that in the front. Feels great. Now I don't know if you noticed when we had the whole thing off, but the shaft was worn where the clutch pedal rides. That's why there's this going on. But we're not going to mess with that now. It's perfectly fine the way it is. Anyway, this side is done. Let's go get the other side finished up. Okay, we've got all the seals replaced, and now it's time to put some fluid in the tractor and see if it holds it. Now I'm not going to be putting expensive oil into the tractor to start with. I'm going to start with some diesel. It's quite a bit cheaper to put diesel in there. That will do two things. That will let us know if we still have any leaks, and if there aren't any leaks, then we'll start the tractor and run it around, get it through the gears and everything, get things churned up. The diesel will sort of act as a cleanser and get all the particulates out of there, and then we can drain the tractor completely after that and put some good oil in there. So here we go, hoping for no leaks. All right, I've got the transmission housing filled all the way up, and pump diesel happens to be blue in our part of the country. This is the fill plug for the rear end in hydraulics. We're going to put a bunch of diesel in and then go and check the dipstick level up front there. And yes, I did put diesel in a kerosene jug. Don't call the cops on me. Let's go check the dipstick. Before it was just on the tip, and now we're, oh yeah, you see that? That's about 60%, 50 or 60% full actually. Let's go put some more in. So I'll have to look up the capacity for both chambers because I have not done that yet. But the transmission took about 3.5 gallons maybe, and the rear end section took about 4 gallons. I thought they were going to take more than that, so maybe there's still some oil left in the tractor. So both chambers are now full, and we're going to start crawling around under here and looking for leaks. If we see no leaks, then we're going to run the tractor. This is where it was leaking from before, up in here, and it's all dry. I see nothing dripping. I see nothing even wet, or nothing new anyway. Let's go around back. There's some wetness on the ground here from when I was working on the PTO seal, but that was just oil coming out of the PTO. That's not a leak from anything. Well, I don't see any leaks, so let's fire this up and run it around. Well, that was a solid 30-minute run, and let's check this thing for leaks. As you saw me demonstrate just a second ago, The PTO doesn't appear to be leaking at all. So only time will tell if that new seal works, but it should work, right? It's the right size. So let's crawl back underneath and see if those other seals are leaking or not. All right, here we are underneath the cross shaft on the left side of the tractor. The new seal we installed is right in there. And we don't have any leaks from there. And right here is the drain plug for the transmission. That's as dry as a bone, just like it was before. And nothing new under here. So let's check the other side. And it's all dry on this side as well. It's all dry in here and nothing from around our new seal. Again, only time will tell, but I'm gonna call this repair a success because everything is as dry as a bone so far. And I ran it for 30 minutes. I drove it around the property, shifting gears, and you know, we ran the PTO and everything else. Next step now is to drain all the diesel that we put in there and put some good fresh oil in the back end of the tractor. All right, let's see what this diesel looks like, huh? After it's been running there for a while and churned up. It's just gonna splash all over me. So this is obviously diesel, remnants of some old gear oil, maybe even a little bit of water in there. I can tell also in the bottom of the pan here, it's getting particulates out. I'm seeing specks of black and things like that. So I'm gonna let this drain some more. I'll empty the stuff out of the rear and then I'll bring you back when we're ready to add oil to the tractor. I'm gonna start with the rear end section, see how much it takes. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but the level is right to the high mark. So I guess that's good enough. And that rear end section took 10 gallons. So there's a lot more oil in there before than I thought there was. So now let's do the transmission. I don't think that's gonna take but maybe 3 or 4 gallons. We'll see here in a minute. All right, I got it full and we should be good to go now. Could put the cap back on, clean up my mess, and then we'll let the tractor sit for a while and maybe run it some more, and we'll check it one more time for leaks just to make sure that we're all good. If anybody's curious, this is what I use, just the Traveler brand universal tractor oil, trans hydraulic rear end. I'm sure it'll be fine. So let's fire this thing up. We haven't run it since we put the oil in it anyway, so I want to get it started and drive it around a little bit. So after checking it all over, all 3 seals are completely dry. That is a huge win for us, and that was actually a pretty big job. Well, I wanted to wait about a week before I reported to you guys that all is well with these seals, and in fact we do have a problem. Let me show you what's going on. So the seals that we replaced are all perfectly dry. Those repairs were all successful. But we have a new problem that I did not anticipate. First of all, the level of the transmission fluid has gone down significantly. It's now maybe half full, roughly. Before it used to be up to the lip. Now it's, you know, several inches below the edge of the lip. So you might be wondering, well, where did that oil go if it's not leaking onto the ground? And I'll tell you where it went. This is the dipstick for the rear end. And before, when we filled it up, the level was right there. And now the level is right there. So it's not quite an inch higher than it was before. So that's where the transmission oil went. It leaked internally into the rear end side. So that's too bad. I was hoping that we're going to be able to move on from this problem and start on some other things. But if we come around here to the other side of the tractor, this right here is the grader PTO shaft that goes to the rear end of the tractor. There's a big gear in here and it meshes with the gear from the gearbox. Now this part can be removed from the tractor. You can see it's separate there. It's got this big plate that mounts to the bottom of the transmission housing, and then this whole unit kind of fits inside a hole back here. And I've been doing some research, and there is a seal in there. Maybe there's more than one seal, I'm not sure. But there's at least one seal in there that could be causing our internal leak. At this point, at least that's what I'm hoping it is, because this whole unit can be removed and dropped from the tractor. Those seals can be replaced, and then you put it back on. It's not something that you have to split the tractor to fix. And like I say, I'm hoping that I'm correct about that, because the last thing I want to do right now is split the tractor and try to deal with some internal seals in there. This is going to be kind of a big job in itself, so I'll probably make a dedicated video just for this. So unfortunately, that means I'm going to have to drain both housings completely again. But I will be catching that oil, saving it, and putting it back on the tractor because it's brand new, and you guys know how expensive oil is these days. So it kind of feels like I went 2 steps forward and 3 steps back on this video, but we did get those 3 seals replaced successfully, and they are working. So that is progress, but it does feel like quite a bit of a setback because we're gonna have to make that repair on that lower seal as well, and hopefully that's what the problem is. So besides that repair, let me show you some other things I'm going to do in the next couple of videos. I've got some parts over here. I'm going to flush the coolant system, put new radiator hoses on, and put some fresh 50-50 mix in there. Got new battery cables. The ones on the tractor are terrible. This is an oil filter. I probably won't do this for a while because the oil in the tractor is really good, so there's no reason to change the oil just yet. I have a new ignition switch with keys, so if we get that installed correctly, we will no longer have to use a screwdriver to jump the solenoid to start it. This is a diesel fuel filter. We'll install that. This is a new solenoid, and we're going to get rid of that crappy electric fuel pump that's on the tractor right now and put an original type mechanical lift pump back on it. I've also got a boot for the top of the starter just because I wanted one. The one on there is all torn and ripped up. And we've got a stop cable that we can install so we no longer have to get off the tractor and move that little lever to kill the engine. So please subscribe if you haven't done that already. This is going to be a long-term project, and there's going to be a lot more videos on this tractor coming up. So I hope you guys will tune in for that. In the meantime, I'll say so long for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video.